One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.
Greetings, this is Tai Brown and welcome to One Question. Our guest today is Tim Cassidy. Tim is the Senior Associate Athletics Director for Football Operations at Arizona State University. Greetings, Tim. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Tai.
Tim, you spent, 35 years in the football coaching industry and college athletics administration industry, and you have an impressive resume. You were instrumental in building football facilities at Nebraska, Texas A&M University, and Arizona State, which, from my understanding, includes the fundraising, design, layout, and implementation. You were spent time as a recruiting coordinator, long time as a football operations director, and now you're Senior Associate Athletics Director of Football. Now, from what I understand about your career, Tim, you've been through roughly a dozen or more football staff and head coach transitions through your career. What has been your role and process of helping a coach and his staff move out and then helping a new coach and his staff move in?
Well, the first part, helping guys move out, is never easy because it's, when you look in this role, or at least in the role I've worked at over the last 30-some years, you become really close with the assistant coaches and their families. So, whether they're moving on their own to other opportunities or the opportunity at your current location has come to an end, it's always difficult because you're talking about families that have to make moves, and particularly the young coaches that have young families. It's never easy, and the uncertainty is always tough. So you want to do your best you can to help them make that move because it is a time in their life where there's a lot of uncertainty. And so just like in every role, I believe, when you're in a position of an operations position, our job is to make their jobs, when I say their jobs, that means the coaches and the head coach's job, as easy as possible, and one that they can just concentrate on coaching and recruiting. And so what we try to do is keep everything else off their back. So in this situation where you got guys moving out, you're looking at things about them going to the coaches convention and looking at the time left on their contract and their benefits and things like that. So you certainly want to help. And then on the front end of the new staff coming on board, you basically have a checklist of things that has to get taken care of. Obviously, the stuff with human resources, but just the day-to-day moving into a new building and having access to a new building and to kind of learn the whereabouts of what it takes to be in a new operation.
Right, and I assume you probably are one of the people that help the new head coach specifically, but also his staff to get to know the key people on campus too, right?
Yeah, get to know the key people on campus, and then in our situation here at Arizona State right now, you're talking about guys coming on board. You probably have 5 or 6 new coaches coming on the staff. So, not only do they need to know the people on campus, but there's a lot of policies and procedures that need to be taken care of. And in our circumstances, we have some coaches that have not been in the college coaching ranks. So it's real important that we get with compliance and that we get these new coaches educated with the NCAA rules, and then, of course, all the coaches get educated in the area of the policies and procedures of the university.
Right. Well, so you were at Texas A&M for almost 23, 24 years, right?
Yeah, I actually was there 3 different times for 23 years, and, it was great. I'd worked for Coach Sherrill and worked for Coach Slocum and worked for Coach Francione for a year, and then with Coach Sherman. So, I was with some really good people, and it's a great university, and I can tell you our time there was very productive, and it was a good time.
Well, in a situation like Texas A&M, or even here at Arizona State, where you've been there for 4 or 5 years, how does you being that constant amongst the changing staffs, how does you being that constant help the administration during those transitions?
Well, I think that's important. In a lot of cases, I've been in a situation where with the new staff coming in, they needed somebody that was stable, that knew the lay of the land, and knew where the pitfalls were, and the people to go to. So, being in that position, it usually takes somebody that's had years of experience at the university, and in my case, years of experience in the business. So, I feel like I've been an asset in those operations. It's not always been easy. Sometimes you're the holdover from a staff that just got dismissed, and you're that one person still standing. And you have to do a good job. You got to show a lot of patience, and you have to have an open mind. And in some cases, you have to have some really tough skin, because when you've tied yourself to a lot of good men and they've been let go, and new staff comes on, usually there's some criticism for some of the guys in the previous position. But in the case here, I think it's going to be a favorable situation where we've got some really good coaches coming on board, and I think they have a lot of respect for the previous coaching staff.
Right. Well, Tim, I always wonder, somebody who's been in the game 35 years, you're probably looking at another 10 to 15 or something before you retire, who might not even retire. I know people who work with football like to work until they're 90 or 95 because they love the game so much.
I don't think I'll make 90, but I can tell you it's enjoyable. The longer I've been in the business, the more I appreciate the job that I have, and I don't really look at it as a job. I look at it as an opportunity. And I've in a situation this last year, we recruited 3 players that all 3 of their dads played for us at Texas A&M. And
oh, wow.
You look and you say, wow, when you recruited their dads, 15, 20 or whatever, 25 years ago, who would know you've been recruiting their sons to come play for you? But in that, it's always pretty neat, because you know that their dads, you treated their dads right, and you helped their dads grow as young men, and they're entrusting their son to you and the other coaches on the coaching staff to help them grow. So to me, that's very flattering, and it's been a great reward to see these young men grow.
Well, when you write the final chapter in your book, right,
mm-hmm.
What would you say that all these experiences, these transitions, these working with a whole bunch of different people from different parts of society, what would you say that these experiences have taught you as you progress through your career? What type of wisdom would you pass on to somebody who wants to be influential?
Well, one, it's been great, because the football business has given me, a person who didn't play college football or play in the NFL, an opportunity to have exposure to a lot of great people. And because of my experience in recruiting at all these universities, you see people from all walks of life, and you see that people, can make their dreams come true. So it's been very rewarding, and that, to see these young men, that you actually help them change the lifestyle and the direction of their lives by helping them get college educations, and then further down the road have the opportunity to see their sons do that. So it is, athletics has been great. Athletics has been great to my family as well, but it's been great to a lot of young people out there, and it's what a wonderful opportunity.
Okay. Well, Tim, I can speak for a lot of people I know in the football operations director part of the football industry, and say that you're very highly respected. And I'm sure you know a ton of coaches that respect you. And
well, it's been good. I mean, the exposure I've had to some really great people, not just great football players on the field, but, guys like Coach Slocum and Coach Sherman and Coach Callahan and Coach Graham here has been unbelievable. And now on to the next opportunity with Coach Edwards. So it's going to be fun and exciting, and really enjoyed my time, and look forward to a number of more great years.
Well, Tim, I certainly appreciate you joining me today on One Question.
Thank you.
That was Tim Cassidy. He is the Senior Associate Athletics Director for Football Operations at Arizona State University. And he is another example of someone who worked in football operations that has a wealth of experience and has their hands in so much when it comes to athletic administration. And this is Tai Brown with One Question. Now keep in mind, the role of a leader is to create and maintain an environment that people want to be a part of. And as always, be better tomorrow than you are today.
And that's today's One Question, brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. One Question is designed to give D1 Ticker subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences. One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.